Today we celebrate a small restaurant with a big heart. Aman's Artisan Indian Cuisine, owned by Baljit and Jasmeet Bansal. Their story is rooted in service. Growing up in Kenya, they witnessed firsthand the devastating moments when blood wasn't available. Families desperate, lives in the balance. The experience stayed with them long, settling into the United States. In 2017, they opened Aman's, a restaurant that quickly became a local favorite, one of mine as well. Their first blood drive was unforgettable. They partnered with the Seagull Museum and they hosted 68 donors. And they sent each one home with a flavorful meal and their signature blend of hospitality and the purpose is a purpose that's defined every drive since. In the past 3 years, Amman has hosted 6 blood drives, welcomed more than 400 donors, and collected 376 units, proving that small family businesses can make a monumental impact. So, welcome, Jasmeet.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Absolutely. So, was there a moment or an experience that you felt or that really sparked an interest in hosting a blood drive?
Well, like you said, like we grew up in Africa, and there was always, I remember every time there would be like an emergency within the general community, there would be an appeal to donate blood, and people would go to the hospital and they would take care of that. So we grew up with this, where there were blood banks, but I guess there was not that much outreach where people were giving regularly. So
Yeah.
we grew up around that whole thing, and we've seen a couple emergencies where people were like really desperate for blood.
Yeah.
So that's something, it was always in the back of our minds. We moved to the United States in '98, and the family was regularly donating blood and still does. And so that was just something that's part of our routine. Every couple of months we'd go down, donate blood. When we got into business, we wanted to give back to the community. And it was one of those things where we just realized, like, oh, maybe we can just do a blood drive, because
Yeah.
we know its impact in giving back to people in need. And it was just a simple, hey, let's try this out. Hopefully, and just incentivize people with some good food. And like you said, it was very successful. And I think the first one we did was towards the tail end of COVID.
It
So there was a
was.
very big
Yes.
need at that time. And we're like, how do we get people to come and donate? So luckily, our neighbors, the Seagull Museum, had the space where we could, have the social distancing. And, we were planning originally, should we do live cooking or should we, have like a buffet style? But then we figured, you know what, again, because of the restrictions during COVID, we'll
Yeah.
just have like a little menu, and we remember taking orders from everyone what they want, and then just cooking it up right next to the restaurant and
Wow.
delivering it. And yeah, it was a good foundation for what this has become. Almost, I think it's a biannual now. We
Yeah.
do one in the spring, and then the last one we just had in December was
And
very
that was
successful.
fantastic. That
Yeah.
was a great one. Did you prepare the food for that one? Did you guys prepare it and then
Yes.
served it there because of the
Yes. Yeah.
restrictions were a little different? Yeah.
Yeah, so this one was different. We figured let's do like a street food kind of fair where people actually come and experience what it would be like ordering food from one of the street vendors in India. So
Yeah.
we had like a little setup over there. We come in, we had the different types of items. We ended up just making everything for everyone. You almost like we're getting a platter of all the food. Again, it's just a little thank you to the community because you don't realize that giving blood, it's giving life.
Yeah.
So just a little
Absolutely.
thank you from us, to the broader community and the community of our patrons who have been supporting us, and then many people who are our regular customers, and they say they look forward to our blood drives, and it's a way for them to give back as well, and a way for us to thank them for their donation.
Yeah, and you talk about, your commitment to the community. I know you've hosted other events in the past. One of them being the free meal that you were giving out to. Talk a little bit about that, and talk a little bit about the other ways that you get involved with the community.
Absolutely, faith is a big drive for us. We belong to the Sikh faith, and one of the core tenets of our faith is giving back to those less fortunate. There's three simple tenets in our faith: is earn an honest living, uh, meditate on the Lord's name, and give back to the community at large. And this was during the whole government shutdown, where we were seeing a lot. There were lots of organizations doing their best out there, and it's amazing to see that. But we started seeing posts on Facebook, especially when the SNAP benefits ended, where people were genuinely concerned about, how am I going to put food on the table?
Yeah.
And that just sort of hit home, because we've experienced food insecurity in our lives. There was a time when our parents were working hard in Kenya and Africa, and everything, like, the struggle of putting food on the table. And I remember this one time, everyone goes through this. There's people have different stories and everything. I remember distinctly a time when our parents fed us. They themselves did not eat that night. It happened just once, but it sticks with you. I
Yeah.
was very young. All us three brothers were very young when that happened, and it's one of those situations where, like, you remember that, and
Yeah.
we know that pain of a parent, struggling to put food on the table. So for us during the government shutdown, when the SNAP benefits ended, it was just a natural thing. Like, what can we do? And just, people sometimes are just ashamed to ask.
Yeah.
And we saw these anonymous posts on the Eastern Facebook groups and everything. So we just made a simple meal, complete meal, food, drink, all the stuff, dessert, everything, and just put it out there. Said, hey, if you want, no questions asked. It's gonna be outside the restaurant. You don't even need to come in and ask for it. Just come and grab it. And it was a blessing to see how many people came out, and few people did reach out, and it was a little heartbreaking to see, like, like, hey, I was planning on eating. Was one individual
Wow.
said I was planning on eating just shredded cheese. That's all he had for that evening, and he got a full meal out of it. So we're just thankful that we can give back to the community
Yeah.
that has given so much to us and our business. So yeah.
Yeah. So you've built such a big community. I mean, following you on Facebook and social media. How would you describe the people that you serve and what makes them special?
It's just heart. It doesn't take a lot to be kind. It's especially needed in this world at this time. And people, I think there's a lack of, we see there's so much negativity in the world,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of positivity as well. And when the time comes, people do come out and they help out in different ways. And that's what we see in this community that comes out every time, we do something. We have people reaching out to us, say we want to volunteer when we're cooking the meals. We want to help out volunteer pack. We want to donate blood. So it's just hard, it's we're wonderful people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
you know we serve, in the hospitality industry. You see people from different backgrounds, different nationalities, different, just, political ideologies as well.
Mhm.
But I think even Anthony Bourdain, even they said something, and I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not exactly sure what he said, but he's like, "Food is what brings people together," and we see that at Almonds. We've had
Yeah.
people who are like from different, political leanings, but you sit and you share a meal, you get to learn about each other, and that's what brings people together. I
Yeah.
think that love of food, that love of community that, the restaurant brings, is what, when the time comes and we just reach out, hey, we need help. We're doing a blood drive, or we're raising funds for hurricane relief in Jamaica.
Okay.
People come, they
Yeah.
show up. They eat,
Yeah.
they donate. And it's the heart. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of good out there, and it's just, it's just. A matter of, finding the right avenue, and people will come and they'll give back.
And as a blood donor yourself, what would you say to somebody who maybe has never donated before?
I think it's just a fear some people have, of like, oh, like, it's, I don't know how to say it, like, this for me, it's such a personal thing. It's just something that's just natural, like, just give back. I go back
Yeah.
to our faith. It just says give back, and I'm like, all right, if we can, you know if donating blood helps, then might as well. I would just say to someone who is new, is considering donating blood, try it once.
Yeah.
Because when I always love looking at the little bag and little hammock over there. Like, I'm like, that's just life, man. It's like, and
It
like, we don't
is.
realize it until, you see like, oh, this helps people, and you
Right.
hear stories of people who need transfusions and all this kind of stuff. Uh, it really makes a huge impact. So I think it's just one of those things people just need to get over the. I don't know if it's a fear of needles. Which
Right.
I don't think
I
it's
don't
that.
know.
It's just
Yeah.
people just. It's a busy schedule. Everyone's
Yeah.
busy, but like give back. This is one way of giving back.
Yeah.
Plus you get
And it's
a lot
actually
of delicious
really
snacks, right?
it's really cool because at the Impact Award, Jasmeet will actually get to meet somebody whose life he saved. And so that's a really exciting thing. And we'll actually have a little bit more about that at another point. We're gonna do hopefully another podcast with both you and Bansal to have both of you guys come in and talk
Yeah.
with us.
And
Where else can where can they find you? Where can they find Amons?
um
Where are you guys
So we
located?
are in downtown Easton, historical downtown Easton, right on Northampton Street, 336 Northampton. And yeah, it's come through. We are a North Indian Punjabi restaurant, but we have a lot of different menu items inspired from our time when we lived in Kenya. So Kenya has a huge Indian diaspora. Uh, Indian food influences a lot of cuisine. We see it in the Caribbean, we see it
Oh yeah.
in Africa, we see it even over here. So um, uh, there's a lot of Indian dishes that are made, especially in Kenya. So we have those types of things on the menu. It's more than just Punjabi North Indian cuisine. You get a little bit of that African touch in there.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Well, stay tuned because we'll have some blood drives, I'm sure, this year.
absolutely,
In probably in the spring and then also probably in the fall or closer to the winter. So thank you
yes.
so much for coming
My
and
pleasure being here. Thank you,
enjoy the Impact Awards and
thank you very much.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.